So yes, we may manage to deal with the cartels, in the domestic market. But how then are we planning to deal with cartels at the global stage that are more powerful?
Maybe sometimes it's a myth. We believe that there are people out there, cartels, which are very powerful. We will start with our domestic market. Let's deal with and restructure our coffee in the country. Protect and have one brand, the Kenyan coffee. We know that we have the quality coffee. Our coffee is ranked among the top in the world. So if we have a quality product, we have a quality staff, surely we will be able to.
And unfortunately, it is used for blending.
Yes.
Because when you go to some of the world's renowned coffee chains, you talk about Starbucks, you go to Tesco's, the supermarket chains in the UK, you don't find any Kenyan coffee. You just find a Colombian coffee, Brazilian coffee, which has been blended using the Kenyan coffee. And so how then do we even get our Kenyan coffee to the Western market shelves?
What we need to do is, once we aggregate our coffee together as a Kenyan coffee, as a brand, together to sell our coffee as a Kenyan coffee, we will be able to penetrate the market. All we need to do, first of all, is to clean up the house in the country. Make sure that we have a properly structured coffee processes, from production, bulbing, aggregation through cooperatives to the market, getting the actual value of the price of coffee on a daily basis, as it's happening in the New York auction every morning, so that the farmers, and what we're asking is if we can get a seed fund, so that when the farmer delivers his coffee, he's able to be to get his payment, even if it's 70% of the value every month, so that it is a crop that produce you are assured of getting payment within 45 to 50 days of delivery of your cherry. You are getting the money. We will go back to the very basics, and production will grow. And therefore, if we are committed and the farmer is seeing that there is being supported, well, once we clean up from Kenya as a country, I think the rest can follow, one step at a time. One step at a time. We have the quality coffee.
Marube, and I know that you have been very passionate about uplifting the welfare and the socio-economic welfare of Kenyan farmers, and more so tea, dairy, and coffee farmers. Where do we get it wrong? Is it at the production stage, or is it at the marketing stage?
The biggest challenge has been on the marketing stage. You remember very recently, a few years ago, we had a lot of milk. There was a glut. The prices went down below the production cost, and many farmers sold their animals and left the dairy. But but before then, when we had a proper structures on daily, and we had the new KCC under cooperatives, it was the institution of the last buyer. They were doing powdered milk. So what we are saying, that if we can be able to manage the marketing bit of it, we let the farmer do the production, and the farmer gets the price above production, there's nothing that the Kenyans cannot do. Just show us the money. So remember, there was a time we had a glut because of imported powdered milk from Ukraine. You remember? You were a young man then, maybe. That was the beginning of the problems. So we
started importing milk from Ukraine.
We are importing powdered milk. When we still have farmers, and you saw from Laikipia sometime, the milk was being bought on the road. At that point, then the farmers got discouraged, and they moved to macadamia and something else. So you see, it's very volatile. The moment the farmer is not assured of the market, and is not assured of the price, then things cannot work. So here we are saying, if we give KCC some little funding to buy all the milk, so that the farmer not think about marketing but production, because he's assured the milk will be aggregated at their cooperative society, the market will be the milk will be delivered to the processor, and the money is coming on a monthly basis, and then the processor, new KCC, has enough funding to buy the excess milk, powdered it, and take it to Congo, take it to Egypt, take it to Nigeria, the big market in Africa. This country will change. we will change completely.
It will change completely. How many cooperatives do we have? I know there are more than 20,000.
Yes. Since we have seen a quick growth on cooperatives registered since the beginning of this year and last year, we are now about 28,000 registered cooperatives.
28,000.
28,000.
And what is the membership?
The membership now is going to over 16,000 members. 16 million.
16 million.
16 million. What has happened is that you see the government, the current government, identified cooperatives as a means through which it can achieve its objectives as it is stipulated in its manifesto. That alone, we have aggregated a lot of youth, a lot of women groups, which were merry-go-rounds, you know. They are formalizing them into cooperatives. And especially now that the government is focusing on job creation and processing value addition through SMEs, through youth, I think that has assisted in the growth of the registrations of the cooperatives at the moment. And as you know, the youth, we are seeing a new emergence of new cooperatives on worker cooperatives. We have the youth who have similar skills. They are looking for jobs. For example, they are plumbers, they are machineries, they are doing some work. They have started coming together to form a cooperative, so that if you want to build your own house, you just go to a cooperative. They have all the resources you want. One house. They come and build the house for you. There's another youth cooperative now within Nairobi County doing recycling. They are collecting the garbage and recycling it into something else. Now, we are seeing those new young youth cooperatives where the young men are recruiting, are employing themselves. They are the same workers who are producing the services, but they are owning that institution as well. In ICT, I'm seeing young people are coming up, and we are seeing quite a number of cooperatives which have come into the system, because then that is how the government can be able to assist and support the youth in their respective working environment.
Very good. And when you look at the growth of the cooperative sector movement going forward, where do you see the growth coming from?
The biggest growth in cooperatives going forward will be through agricultural production value chains. We are going to see even more youth going to be attracted in the coffee value chain, coming up to opening up coffee shops like Starbucks, you mentioned a while ago, in Nairobi. We're going to see more young men going to work with the dairy farmers and adding value along the making yogurts, transport of the products along that line. We are going to see more cotton cooperatives coming up, value chain processing, making clothes, as a result of that, and byproducts like cotton cakes being consumable to the dairy cooperatives, where we are seeing the potential of Kenya producing more than 3 million liters per day.
Of milk.
The potential is here. We have the animal genetics at the research center. We are now impressing more of animal genetics with hybrid that can be able to produce more milk. The president recently, while in Meru, confirmed to the dairy farmers that he has put structures in place to make sure that the hybrid semen is going to be available at affordable pricing. In this case, then, we are seeing that that is where the growth will be coming from. Value chain, production, value chain, value addition, and marketing. So we will be able to absorb more decent opportunities in it. Coffee alone, if we improve our coffee production from the 50 I said to over 200, you can imagine how many thousands of young men who will be employed, and women, and to do the coffee production processes. So there will be a growth in that end, and of course our financial cooperatives is expanding using the ICT platforms. So we are looking forward that in the next 10 years our target is to make sure that every Kenyan belongs to at least one cooperative.
And when you talk about, let's also talk about tea cooperatives, and I know they have been a major component of the cooperative movement in this country. What would you say about the future of tea-based cooperatives?
The future is good. I'm glad that the MyCS and the Deputy President, they are geared soon. They will be meeting. We'll be having a conference on tea to look at the challenges and how we can be able to produce, to improve on quality production, producing more tea with high quality, and the marketing structures. When that conference meets, I'm sure we are going to have a look at it to see how best can the SACCOs will be empowered to manage the financial needs of the tea farmers, so that we aggregate and have a one focus. At the moment, the tea farmers are getting loans from different sources. Mm-hmm. And when they are repaying their loans, you find that at the end of the day, they don't have cash that they are putting in their pocket. So we would want to restructure tea so that a tea farmer can also start seeing Kenyan money, dollar money in his account. Mm-hmm. And once that happens, this country can only grow and industrialize based on our agricultural economy. Kenya is an agricultural economy, and therefore that's where we need to focus.
Mm-hmm. If you're just joining us, we are in the company of Daniel Marube, and our conversation this morning revolves around how to strengthen the cooperative movement in Kenya, even as we gear towards the celebrations of the 101 World Cooperative Day, which is happening here in Nairobi. And we're also looking at the future of cooperatives here in Kenya, the challenges and the opportunities. That is the conversation we're having here. You're watching Biz Check. We're live from Broadcasting House. O'Brien Kimani is my name. Daniel Marube is in studio. Our conversation will start, and I want to find out from you, Marube, now. Between the tea subsector and the coffee subsector, where do you see the biggest opportunity?
The biggest opportunity is in both.
Is in both? Is in both,
mm-hmm. Because we have the greatest potential to more than triple the production of coffee. And along the value chain. Mm-hmm. And we have committed from the government that there's going to be restructuring from production, support by the county governments, and we are also strengthening the governance structures mm-hmm. at the factory level, from the village level, where now the county government will be able to give extension services and the cooperative officers to support in making sure that we have good leadership, we have youth involvement in it, so that there is transparency in governance in our production. So this coffee has got its market, and the tea has got its own market. Mm-hmm. Those two products alone can be able to create massive job opportunities, and they will bring in a lot of foreign currencies. So those two alone, if we focus well in the next 2 years, I think the results will be enormous. The results will be enormous.
Will be enormous. And you also talked about bringing the young people into the cooperative movement. And you were talking about agriculture, and statistics from the Ministry of Agriculture has always said that the average Kenyan farmer's age is about 60 years. And this is a mismatch in a country whereby more than 70% of the population is below the age of 45. And so you have a significant chunk of the market which is not engaged in agriculture. And so how do you mainstream young people into agriculture?
Our solution is very simple. Prove to the young people that there's money in coffee, and they will come. I was 2 weeks ago, I was in Meru. Mm-hmm. I visited one farmer, and his sons are doing much better than he has been doing in coffee, because they have seen value they're earning over 100 shillings per kilo. And the old man told me, my son is getting over every season is getting more than 6 million shillings. He stopped working in Nairobi.
Yeah.
He's now focusing on coffee, and the young man has started increasing the acreage on coffee. So what we're saying here is, if there is money, if we get a good price per kilo of coffee, the farmer, the young man will go back. Number two.
And a good price for you means how much?
Anything above 150 shillings per kilo.
Right now they're getting how much?
We are now doing an average of 100 and 135. So we're almost going there, yes. And there's a potential. There's a possibility that we can even do 200 shillings if the cartels are removed and we structure the marketing processes of coffee. It's possible we can get over 250.
And so if you're getting 135 shillings, per kg of coffee, what is the production cost for the same?
We have not quantified. We have not quantified on that, but I think for a farmer to break even, you need more than 80 shillings per kilo.
80 shillings?
At least 80 shillings, yes, to break even.
So production cost will be between 75?
Yeah, at the same cost of production, if we now apply the new technologies and to improve production, so you'll get more kilos per tree, so your profit margin will significantly go up. Yes, will grow up.
Then, what about for tea?
Tea, is pricing as well. We know KTD has done very well in the past. We need to find out, is there something that we can do much better? Can we do value addition on tea? Can we look for other markets for tea? So if we can be able, you remember recently some farmers, when they don't get money, they can easily uproot the tea and plant something else. Yeah. The farmers are very fluid. They chase the money. So we want to stabilize it. Tea incomes have been fairly stable, but we believe that the farmers can get much better. We need to go inside. The government needs to see how is tea auctioning being done. What's happening around the tea auctions? KTDA, is there something else that can be structured to make sure that the prices for the tea farmer is improved, and then give the opportunity to the tea circles to run the financial management of the farmer, so that we can be able to teach the farmers that you don't have to take loans from time to time. Take the loan for a purpose. Take the loans for a purpose. So that we give them financial literacy as farmers through the circles, and then we structure their loans through one body, the tea circles.
And I like the fact that you're bringing in the concept of cash, because ultimately, I mean, the bag is the ultimate prize. So when you look at, and you're talking about coffee, and you're saying that coffee farmers should not get anything below 150 shillings per kg of coffee that is delivered, and this is the same can be said about the tea industry. What should be the minimum a farmer should get for a kilo of tea?
We are currently doing the analysis in preparation for the conference that is soon going to be called by the Deputy President. We are doing the analysis of what does it cost a farmer to produce 1 kilo. And once we have that statistics out of that particular conference, we are going to show the figures how we can be able to show the farmer proper income. So we are working on it.
Very good. Yeah. And also, you see, historically, when you look at the cooperative movement in Kenya, it has been majorly dominated by the agriculture subsector. I mean, the agriculture sector, with coffee, tea, and dairy being the major drivers of this sector. But now we're having other, emerging sectors of the economy. You have the ICT, you have the hospitality industry, you have the service industry. Are we working towards encouraging growth from these sectors as well?
Exactly, yes. If you look at other products, you have forgotten to talk about macadamia. You are talking...
Macadamia.
Yes.
Macadamia is also big?
It's big, it's coming big, and the government and the people, we are entering into it in a bigger way. We are also reviving Barethram. You remember, at some point, Kenya used to produce 65% of the world, Barethram in the world. We are reviving that line. It's another line of income for the rural population.
Yeah.
And yes, we are saying that Kenya, the uptake of ICT in Kenya is, I think, could be the second in Africa, or if not the first in Africa. And that is a growth area. There's a growth area. Our cooperatives, I want to interest you to know that our intention in the next 5 years is to digitize those sectors. We will be doing coffee census. We want to know how many coffee plants do we have? What is their average? What kind of soil are we having? How can we grow production out of it? The same with the dairy, all right? So that from one point, we can be able to know this is our potential, this is what we have, this is our potential, and this is what we need to do to grow in that area. So our youth, we are encouraging them. They will start going back now to look for their jobs, decent paying jobs at the cooperative societies, at the cooperative unions. We have opportunities for them. Remember, cooperative is about membership. Our members, the parents, are saying they want to start bringing in their youth. If you go to Githunguri, what happened? The farmers, the parents decided to give their daughters and their cows. They said, my daughter, come, I will give you 5 cows. Their sons, come here, you are idle. I've given you these 5 cows here. Take care of them, or the milk you sell, it's yours. The young men found themselves very busy. You milk in the morning, you feed the animal at 10 o'clock, you are milking at 12 o'clock, delivering milk at 1, and 4 o'clock you are feeding again, and you are milking in the evening. They got very busy. It's an example. The similar thing as is being duplicated in Meru. So we're saying that the farmers who have 3 acres of land, 2 acres of land, give your son a quarter. Let him start learning from there. And in the process, they become a member of the cooperative society, and they can be able to get leadership in it, because you have a number that entitles you to seek a leadership role. You know, leadership in cooperatives cannot be is through membership. You cannot just come in and be a leader. You have to have coffee. So I'm glad from Meru, the farmers are saying, the parents are saying, we will give our children a quarter acre to start taking care of their coffee, and as they become mature in it, we will hand over. However, some farmers argued and said, I gave my son 2 acres of coffee. After 2 years, he leased my coffee to somebody else for 10 years. So that's why the farmers are saying, until they see their sons and daughters getting interested in the agricultural cooperatives, cooperative activities, how can they give them to a young man who is going to lease the farm and go to Muranga to do another business? So in terms of ICT, we are top on it. We are digitizing. We want to make sure that all the coffee factories, all the tea circles, all our circles, wherever they are making sure that they digitize their bookkeeping. There's more transparency. There is more ethical policies put in place, that every member, through the leadership of the county cooperative leadership, they are able to supervise, to make sure that we have good leaders who can be able to understand bookkeeping, and transparency is our way of life at our cooperatives.
What is the median age of a cooperative member in Kenya?
About 55 years.
55 years.
55 years. But as I said, the big growth of new cooperatives now is more youth. We are getting more youth cooperatives, and that's an excitement for us. Remember this, in every of all our cooperatives, we have we are conforming to the third rule, gender rule. But you see, even if we have the rule, unless we have the youth in the cooperative, we cannot just go somewhere on the road and get somebody to come and be a leader. So what we are encouraging is young men, young women. There is money in farming. There's money in coffee. There's money in dairy. There's money in poultry. Go back to the basics and be a member. Come and take leadership in our cooperatives by being a member of that cooperative.
And when you talk about, the average age of a cooperative member being 55 years, that tells you that you also have a significant portion of the population that has been left outside the movement, and so all efforts must be put in place to ensure that you tap the interest of young people into joining the cooperative movement. And I believe this can be done, at a very early age, maybe at primary school or even at secondary school. Are you planning to have these kind of strategies, where you work with the Ministry of Education, other tertiary institutions, to try and inculcate a culture of cooperative in the minds of young people, just like the way we used to have the 4K Club, which used to indulge young people, at a very tender age, and it used to teach us, the importance of agriculture.
Thank you very much. I may not remember one of the countries where cooperative is taught from primary school to university, and that is our target. Our target is, how do we make cooperative and saving a culture of our people? We can only achieve that by starting introducing cooperatives, the principles of cooperatives, from a young age. We will be pushing a paper for discussion to request the Minister of Education, and through their curriculum, arm of the curriculum, to consider as part of CBC to bring cooperatives in our mainstream education. I know the cooperative university gives the cooperative as a course to almost everybody, but we want this to start from the primary schools, whereby every school can also have a cooperative society, where parents, students, and teachers in that school, they have their own cooperative society. From that particular end, then, the children can be introduced to opening a small savings account in a circle, so that they can grow with that particular account into adulthood. It's a wonderful idea. We are working on it. We will be giving you updates in the coming year or so to see what kind of progress we are making. Because now Kenya, as a culture, we are a cooperative country. So we need to make sure that we have the future, that the young people can take over our leadership. Yeah.
And even as you talk about the future, and the future here is definitely going to be driven by technology. And technology, will involve artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and big data. How primed are the cooperative movement to embrace the future?
If you notice, since COVID changed the way we were doing things. We were not before doing online meetings. We were not doing online board meetings. Today, I could say that all circles have embraced it. We have upgraded our ICT systems. When you go to the societies, circles, unions, you could find that there is the uptake of technology is gone up. Number two, we have started doing shared services. We know technology is expensive. CAK, in partnership with the lead ICT companies, we have launched CopTech as a shared service. There's another shared service which is being progressed by SASRA, the regulator, called Circle Central. You see, this this is one way for us to bring on speed our cooperatives to start utilizing ICT services. So instead of one SACCO or one cooperative spending 100 million to buy your own system, we are saying now, here is a bigger system, come together, you join in and utilize it. It's just like the highway. We have the expressway. Instead of you building your own highway, let us come together, build a big highway, and utilize it. We are already on that space. We are already in that space. Yeah.
And so even with the growth of ICT, definitely it comes with the downsides, risks of cybercrime.
Yes.
And you know, I was going through the cybercrime report, which is released annually by Serianu, which is an IT risk-based company, and they were talking about you know, that Kenya is losing about 40 billion shillings to cyber criminals every year, and SACCOs are some of the prime targets because they have employed weak governance IT systems. So as the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, how are you working with SACCOs to help them to upscale their IT systems?
Thank you very much. The reason, one of the biggest reasons why we are now we want to move into shared services is because for you to attract and maintain the top ICT cyber security staff is very costly. To employ the kind of firewalls and technologies that you need to deploy so that you can be able to detect the cyber crime penetration into a system is extremely expensive. And for that reason, we have come together so that we can be able to build a very strong, progressively system that can be able to protect our data and our resources. It is our number one priority. It's our concern, and it's now our number one priority. We have partnered with the world top security companies in providing these shared services. It's number one system.
Which company is this?
We have many companies from UK and from Australia that we are working with.
That you're working with?
Yeah.
So have you seen any impact yet of your collaboration with those companies?
Yes, we have already done our local testing. We have done what we call ethical testing to make sure that penetration, to make sure that our systems are safe and secure. We have even exposed our COPTECH system to banks, our friendly banks, to give us their top technology people to do penetration testing and checking on our securities, and we are extremely excited that we are now ready to roll the system to our members.
And I don't know whether cooperatives have embraced the concept of hackathons, whereby you invite hackers from learning institutions, from IT companies, to try and penetrate your systems so that you can map out vulnerable points. I don't know whether this is a concept
that's exactly what I mean by penetration testing. Yeah, we give ethical hackers to come and tell us where our weaknesses are and which areas we need to improve, and that has been done for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is proving to be successful.
It's very successful.
Very good. Now let's discuss something small about the upcoming Cooperatives Day. What should we look forward for on that day?
Yeah, worldwide, on Saturday, the 1st of July, the world will be celebrating the International Day of Cooperatives. And remember, UN also recognized cooperatives as a model that has a great impact on the members and the societies and their communities. So on Saturday in Kenya, we will be having our event at International KCC grounds. 7 o'clock in the morning, we will be having a march from KPCU to KICC. We will be expecting all our members to be seated by 8
your
o'clock.
Members. And how many members are you looking
We
at?
are expecting about 17 to 20,000 people coming to KICC on Saturday morning. We will be having an exhibition from different sectors, from housing, financial, dairy, coffee. We will be having an exhibition out there. We welcome the public to come and see the achievements that we have made as cooperatives. Our chief guest will be coming in by 8:15. So by 8 o'clock, I welcome all the members from different cooperatives, and anybody who has never made his mind to join a SACCO or a cooperative to come and witness the great achievements you will make by joining one of them. So we will have a procession in the morning at 7 o'clock from KBCU to KICC. There will be a huge exhibition by many SACCOs and cooperatives from different sectors, and then we'll be seated by 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock we'll be ready. We will start our event from 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning. Our chief guest is expected to be there before 8:30.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, you're watching this conversation live from Broadcasting House. We've been talking to Daniel Marube. He's the chairman of Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, joining us this morning to help us understand where the cooperative movement is, the challenges and the prospects going forward, even as we celebrate the World Cooperative Day, which is happening at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. We are taking a short break, and thereafter we'll be back so that we wind up with on this topic, and thereafter we shall be having a conversation around counterfeits. Stay right here. So we have spent the last how many minutes, almost 50 minutes, discussing the state of cooperatives in Kenya and the future, and of course the challenges and the upcoming World Cooperative Day. We have been in the company of Daniel Marube. He's the chairman of Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya. Before we wind up, Mr. Marube, I want to hear from you the issues of governance. They have been pretty evasive in this industry, and there have been various attempts, through regulations and policies to try and align the sector and bring on board best practices. Are these bearing any fruit?
Yes, indeed. The cooperative movement is huge. As I said, we have 28,000 registered cooperatives. But if it's one issue of bad governance in one, it spoils everything else.
Yeah.
There is a lot of good that's taking place in cooperatives. We couldn't have been number one in Africa and 7 in the world if our governance was that bad. That proves to you that we have good governance structures within the movement, but within it, because of the big numbers, we have a few cooperatives. We still
have some few rotten apples.
Spoiled the name. And these ones are known where people came in the form of investment cooperatives.
Yeah.
They said, people, we come, we buy land, we have land here, we want to build houses for you. And 1 or 2 people messed up, and we know them. I want to assure the Kenyan people this morning, once again, that we have proper structures. Cooperatives and the SACCOs in Kenya are very stable. Your money in our SACCOs is as safe as being in any commercial bank. We have a regulator called SASRA. SASRA has been given the mandate to ensure that every saving, the money that a farmer or a members put in their SACCO or a cooperative society is safe. That commitment needs to be put there. Number 2, yes, we have those a few pockets where governance has been an issue, especially at the lower end, at the primary cooperatives where the coffee is being aggregated. And we are saying that the county government, through devolution, have been given the mandate to supervise the elections at the primary cooperatives. They have been given the mandate to audit their books regularly. They have the mandate to do snap checks, all right, and to pick complaints from the farmers so that we can be able to solve the problems before it escalates to become a big issue. Number two, we are taking training seriously. That as soon as the leaders have been elected into the office of the leadership of the cooperative society, they need to undergo a certain training so that they understand what leadership means in the cooperatives. Number three, we already have a bill that has gone through public participation in the country. It is now in the cabinet. I'm told it's due soon going to Parliament. This bill is addressing the gaps that we have seen in the governance. Number one, it provides for women and youth inclusion in leadership. That can be able to bring in succession planning. Number two, it is very punitive and very specific to anybody who will misappropriate the funds or steal money from the circle or from the cooperative society. What will happen? In the past, we have been surcharging, and the maximum was 200,000. So you do whatever, you steal 4 million, you disappear, you are charged by 200 to a maximum of 200,000, and then you are set free. But now we are saying we will not surcharge you. You will be charged as a criminal, and we will pursue you to recover the money. So that is a plus that we have put in our structures, and we hope that will be a deterrent, that you cannot run away. We come to you, we look for your property. We have already signed agreements with asset recoveries. We will recover your assets. That will give confidence to the leadership. So if anybody was trying to look for leadership in cooperatives with the view to steal, this time it will not be allowed. So we have given the mandate. There's more mandate given on that particular area. Number two, then we have put in structures through the county governments that we can be able to detect the problem before it becomes a big problem.
Very good.
So that bill is good bill. We are looking forward to it. Once it's implemented, it's going to address on that. And number two, we are not going to do manual works. We want to make sure that we have computerized, we have digitized most of the operations in the organizations, in our circles and cooperatives, so that it's more open, it's more transparent, it's more traceable. Any transactions we are doing, it's traceable, and that the budgets are adhered to. That once the budgets have been made at the AGM or an ADM, they are adhered to and they are auditable.
Very good. Daniel, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning and for helping us understand what's happening within the cooperative movement. And of course, we'll keep on having this kind of conversations so that we ensure we drive the growth of cooperatives in Kenya.
Thank you very much, and I welcome you. I hope to see you all on Saturday at KICC by 8 o'clock, seated to see and enjoy what the cooperative movement has been able to do and transform the lives of thousands of Kenyans.
Very good. Asante sana.
Thank you.
Enjoy your morning.
Same to you, sir.
Very good. Daniel Marube is the chairperson of the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, joining us this morning to put into perspective the issues facing the cooperative movement in Kenya, the past and the present, as well as the future. You have heard it from him. Our next conversation is coming up next. We are looking at the fight against counterfeit. And to try and put this into perspective, Kenya is losing more than 100 billion shillings to counterfeiters, and globally, more than $2.2 trillion actually is lost through illicit trade. And so the question is, how do you curb the trade in illicit trade? Well, my name is O'Brien. Kimani, stay right here. We'll be back shortly.